The only way this could be an accident is you fulfilling some type of fantasy by videoing it and it going too far. Because it's on video. So you either intended to kill her or you intended to videotape this for yourself and it went too far.
On the chilly evening of September 30th, 2019, police made a horrifying discovery when a homeless woman named Valerie Kassler dialed 911 with a disturbing piece of evidence in her possession. An SD card which contained graphic footage that exceeds all limits of humanity. The person you saw sitting in the interrogation room was 48-year-old Brian Stephen Smith, and what he is about to reveal to the police next would forever alter the course of his life.
Your fingers, or did you fist her?
Well, that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was when she was deceased?
Yeah.
If you think that this was one of the most gruesome revelations you've come across, then wait till you see the rest of the footage. This case would go down as one of the most brutal and gut-wrenching crimes in the history of Alaska. The day the SD card surfaced, Brian had already flown to Virginia on a vacation with his wife, Stephanie. He was brought into the interrogation room right after he'd landed.
Mr. Smith, I'm Detective Lee, the Anchorage Police Department. I just want to show you my badge, my ID, so you know who you're talking to. This is Detective Bell, my partner. We have some matters we wanted to clear up with you and talk to you today, so I appreciate you coming up here with these guys and talking to me. Obviously, we're here at the airport. They brought you up here to talk to me, so we have some kind of a formality to get by. I have to read you what's called a Miranda warning. So, like I said, we have some matters we need to clear up with you, and I just wanted to ask you: do you have any idea, any thought in your head about what we might want to talk to you today about?
No, my truck was broken into a few months, well, about a month or two ago, and that's why I don't have a driver's license. My wallet was stolen.
Okay.
And I had some papers that were in the car with me.
Okay.
And some stuff.
Okay, what day was it that it was broken into?
Oh, I can't remember.
Like I said, we have some matters we need to clear up, and the thing we need to talk about is recently some property was brought to APD, and I was given that property as a little SD card, and I watched that SD card and I looked at it, and that's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
So what can you tell me? Because you mentioned the SD card and the GoPro camera, so what can you tell me about that?
Well, usually everything I record is stuff from my trips when I go out camping. So if you see me making fires and cooking meat and walking in the forest, and if it's on a GoPro, there's a good chance it's me trying to take shots or a video of me shooting through things.
The cops certainly didn't see him cooking or shooting through things, but the contents of the SD card, definitely not from a GoPro, were far more startling than anyone could have anticipated. And the person who stole it? None other than Valerie Kassler. She got what she wanted, but certainly not what she expected.
In the hotel room, it showed her laying on the ground on the rug, and she was like all beat up. I mean, her face was not even recognizable. And he was hitting her and telling her that she isn't going to leave the hotel alive, that he's killing her.
See if this will refresh a memory here for you. That there, and that's it right there on top of that.
I've seen those. I've got one or two of those. You get those at Walmart.
Okay. And now is that one like the one you're missing? Because you said you're missing one out of the GoPro.
No, well, the whole GoPro's gone.
Oh, the whole GoPro's gone.
Yeah.
But was that the type of card that might have been in that GoPro when it was gone?
No.
Okay.
I've got one of these that I've been using for my 3D printer.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I've got these green ones. The other one's all black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and so like I said, this was brought to APD and given to me, and like I said, I viewed the images and the videos on that SD card.
Yeah.
And that's obviously that's how I got to you. That's how I figured out who you are.
Okay.
And that's what we need to clear up that matter of what's on that SD card.
Okay, what's on the card?
Okay. You mentioned a black Ford Ranger truck you have.
Yeah.
I observed that black Ford Ranger that you have. What's the plate on your Ford Ranger?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the Ford Ranger that's registered to you and to Stephanie.
Yeah.
And it's FSL
Yes,
878. Does that
yeah.
sound right? So, like I said, that's how I got to you. There's pictures of that truck on that SD card.
Okay. Well, it could be. I could have used it for something if it's got my truck on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to talk to you about.
Okay.
It was not only from his truck that the cops had traced him. The police were already familiar with him because of a previous investigation. When they viewed the contents of the SD card, they instantly recognized Brian's thick South African accent.
Let's talk about over the last month, time span of a month or so. You work at the Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
How often, you live at Starbucks, so you live here in Anchorage. How often would you say you stay at a Marriott? Would you spend the night there at a Marriott or rent a room there?
Well, when we go away, like now, we stayed at Marriott. Yeah.
Okay.
In DC.
Yeah.
But let's say here in Anchorage.
Oh, a few weeks ago, probably a month or two, I had a fight with my wife, and I went and stayed at a Marriott.
Okay. And how many nights did you rent it? Do you have to, as an employee, do you have to rent the room, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, I just rent the room. Yeah.
Okay. And how many nights did you rent the room for?
Probably about 2 nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And when you went to the hotel, what did you do? What was your evening like?
After a fight with your wife, you usually drink a hell of a lot, so it did involve quite a bit of alcohol. So
Okay. Okay. Did you go anywhere?
I probably would have driven around a bit, got some food and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you meet up with anybody, talk to anybody?
I can't remember. I probably would have. Between us, I have been known to sometimes go out and find a companion,
Okay. Did you do that, you think, that particular night?
I probably did, yeah.
You probably did.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me about how that evening went down?
If this is the same evening, I met a lady down at the homeless shelter, and she actually works there, and she stayed the night. And I still got to work late the next morning because I went and dropped her off back at work again. So I can't remember her name. I can't even remember what she looks like. Yeah.
Okay. What time was it that you picked her up at the homeless shelter?
I probably would. I don't know. I can't tell you. I really can't tell you. Yeah.
Downtown Hope Center was the homeless shelter that Brian frequently visited. It was here that a series of unsettling events began to unfold. Events that would ultimately lead to the deaths of not one, but 2 women.
But it would have been late, like 10, 11.
Okay. And from there, once you picked her up, where did you guys go?
She said that she knows where we can get some booze, and she arranged some vodka, which she actually kept. I didn't have to drink, I'm sure of that,
Mm-hmm.
It's very fuzzy. I remember her shouting out the window with vodka or something like that.
Okay.
And then we would have gone back to the hotel room.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you got back to the hotel room, what did you guys do?
Oh, we had to watch a bit of TV, drank a bit more. And then through the night maybe done something. Yeah.
Okay. And can you just give a little more detail what you guys did?
Well, obviously gotten a little bit physical, sexually, if you want that word.
Okay, so you guys had...
Probably, yeah, there's a good chance. After a few drinks, I don't usually work, so...
Okay. Okay, so after that, what happened next?
Well, woke up in the morning. This I remember. I woke up and she was in the bathroom putting her makeup on, and she spent like an hour or so. And I was in a rush to get back to work, so that was the big thing there,
Okay.
And I got to work about an hour late because I still went and dropped her off.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you, like we told you, today's the 8th. You said this is about 2 weeks ago?
No. It was longer than 2 weeks ago. It's more like a month ago.
A month ago. Okay. And since that time, since about a month ago, have you rented a room in Anchorage at all and spent the night there?
No.
No, that's the last time you did? Okay. And you said she was putting her, the last thing you said, she was putting on her makeup, and then did you take her somewhere, or what happened?
Yeah, I went to drop her off again because she works at the homeless shelter.
Okay.
The one that they want to close down.
Okay.
Yeah.
After that night, after you came back to the room, did you and her go anywhere else around Anchorage or anywhere else outside of Anchorage or anywhere for that matter?
No, I never saw her again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you speaking about Brother Francis Shelter or something different?
The one that goes down, that's just across from the prison.
Okay.
That one,
Yeah. Okay.
It's no coincidence that the woman mentioned is Valerie Castler. She wasn't just a stranger either. She was on a date with Brian, who had little to no idea that she would break into his truck later. The story of her stealing the SD card and the shocking contents it held will be revealed as the footage unfolds.
I viewed everything on the SD card, and I did see your truck on there. Is there anything else on that SD card that we need to talk about?
No, you could show me the card and see. You can show me what's on there if you want to.
Okay. But I am going to ask you to get pretty specific about what you and her did in the room together. If you could just kind of describe how it started and what you guys did throughout the night.
Okay, well, I don't remember, but if you really want graphic, we probably played with each other, and should probably have, and then there's a good chance we probably tried, if you can put it that way.
Mm-hmm. And how many nights did you say you rented that room for?
For 2 nights. Yeah.
2 nights. Was this on the first night that you had the room, or was this on the second?
This was the second night.
Second night.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just wanted to show you this picture, see if it would help you kind of refresh the girl from that night.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not her.
Not her.
Just short hair.
Short hair. Okay.
Short hair. No.
Okay. All right.
She looks like a drug addict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this woman before?
No.
Have you ever had any contact with her at all?
No. I have. Look, in the last 5 years that I've been here, probably starting about 2 years ago, I've probably gone out and picked up a girl or two. So I might have seen her before, but not fresh in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then you said her here
No.
doesn't ring a bell, doesn't look familiar. You've never seen her?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else, and I'm going to step out here a minute, let you take a break, drink some water. Is there anything else about that evening that we haven't talked about that you want me to know about, or you think we should talk about?
No.
So far, the police have given Brian ample opportunities to share his side of the story. However, as he stubbornly refuses to utter a single word, they're left with no choice but to confront him directly by presenting photographs from the SD card. In this moment, you'll witness his calm demeanor begin to wear off. What he doesn't realize is that the real surprise is yet to come.
You were asking me to show you what's on the SD card, and I don't have it here to show you exactly what's on there, but I wanted to talk about it. And like I said to you a minute ago, the images led me to you. There's images on there that led me to you, and for multiple reasons. The truck, like I said, I knew that was your truck. You're saying that's your truck in the photographs. Mm-hmm. There's pictures of the Marriott. There's pictures of the Marriott, the hotel room on the GoPro, or excuse me, on that SD card. And that's how I knew it was that Marriott. It was the Midtown Marriott.
Okay.
And the pictures, I don't know, you probably know about this. I think you're into technology and stuff.
Okay.
Photographs, they have a time and date stamp. So the photographs are time and date stamped. So they basically, the photographs time and date stamp matched at the time that you were at that hotel room.
Okay.
So that's how this SD card has led me to you.
Okay.
And like I said, there's a number of images on there, and there's a number of videos on there, and I brought some of the pictures to kind of go over with you about that. So this is one of the images on there. Part of it is kind of cut down a little bit, but can you tell me what's in that photo?
There's somebody's feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whose feet are those?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm looking at your shoes. I mean, it looks like the shoes you're wearing right now.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Okay. Is it safe to say those are your feet in that picture?
I don't know.
Okay. I just want to show you some other images here and like I said, I've watched the videos and the images on there, and I've watched them multiple times, and that's why we're here. That's how I knew to talk to you. So These are just some of the other images on there.
Okay.
These are on the SD card.
Okay.
So what can you tell me about these photos?
This looks like someone that's really been beaten up a bit.
Okay. And these are images. These are images, but there's also videos of this person.
Yeah.
And another person in the room as well. And that's why we're here to talk to you about.
How many people in the room?
At least 2.
Oh. Yeah.
So we need to address this. We need to clear this up.
Okay.
Mr. Smith.
You think I hit this girl?
Well, like I said, there's videos of it. There's video of it, there's audio of it, there's a voice I've been talking to you now for almost 30, 40 minutes. And I know it was your voice I could hear in the video.
Okay.
And if you'd like to hear some of that, I can refresh your memory with it.
The same pictures are on the SD card with your truck that you said was your truck.
Yeah, these are all on the same as your truck here. So.
That sounds like me. What's happening when that's...
What's happening is on this video, on these images, the person that's recording it is holding the recorder and is standing basically above this girl and strangling her.
Brian wasn't expecting the cops to pull out the recording, and with that one move, the cops have him cornered and defenseless. Watch how he struggles to give an explanation and stammers through it.
I don't want to act stupid, but I don't remember anything.
Okay. But this occurred, and like I said, the photos are timestamped. This occurred in that room 323, 323, on September 4th, early mornings,
Yeah.
at the time that you were at the hotel.
The 4th, I'm not denying. I'm not saying you're lying, but I don't remember anything like this.
Has anything like that ever happened to you in the past then? Have you ever, when you drank or anything like that, has anything ever happened in the past where you drank and you forgot what you did?
Long time ago, I was told it was sugar blackouts.
So it wasn't alcohol?
And you talking and like I said, there's about 12 of these videos, and I've watched every single one of them multiple times, unfortunately. And you talking, you know what you're doing in those videos. I mean, you're describing what's going on in those videos. And so, Mr. Smith, I don't believe that you don't remember this happening. Do you recall that?
Who would record stuff like this? I do not remember anything like this. Honestly.
Where is this girl now?
I don't know.
He tries to distance himself from the crime, questioning his own actions as if in disbelief. The cops catch on quickly, and when they ask about the girl in the video, he feigns ignorance. But in reality, he knows exactly where she is, and later in the footage, you're going to find out what really happened to her.
She's not the girl I picked up. I can tell you now, she's not the one I picked up. The one I picked up was short hair. And I dropped...
Okay, but that's definitely your voice on those audios. And I have no doubt about it. Like I said, I mean, your shoes are in the picture, your truck's in the picture, a Marriott cart, as you pointed out, is in the picture.
Yeah.
And then I can also point to this to you. This is the SD card file. And look at the fourth one down, what the name of that file is. Homicide, Marriott Hotel, Midtown, Anchorage. And this was modified on September 24th, 20 days later.
I did not do that. Why would I make a file like that? If I did take videos of this, I would...
What did you use?
I wouldn't write. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't... No.
So you're saying you didn't label the videos with that?
No.
Okay. What kind of phone do you have? So your phone basically is basically tracked anytime you drive around through a tower, and there's towers all over Anchorage. Okay, well, it was your phone, the 205 number. Yeah. It was your vehicle, your truck. There's cameras out on the highway at the way station, so there's no doubt about it that
inbound
you were
and
out
outbound.
there.
Yeah.
No doubt about it that you were out there.
Okay, I don't remember anything else, really, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, look, this sounds very serious, no matter what, I'm going to be in deep, so...
As it turns out, Brian wasn't exactly a criminal mastermind. The fact that he labeled the file Homicide at Midtown Marriott gives us a glimpse into his recklessness and naivety. Valerie, who had stolen his phone from the truck, viewed the disturbing footage and saved it onto an SD card before handing it over to the police. Initially, she claimed she found it lying on the street, but later, during the trial, she confessed the truth. Now, Brian begins to weave a story, one that will only dig his grave even deeper.
Okay, I'll tell you what I remember.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, if you put yourself in my shoes, would you admit to something like that immediately? You know,
No,
it's a very serious thing to be, you know.
No, it's very serious.
We understand. It's taking time for you to wrap your head around
Yeah.
what's happening right now, and that this is when and where it's happening.
I was scared.
If you didn't remember what happened, why didn't you call somebody and say, hey, there's somebody in the back of my truck?
Well, that's the thing. Who would believe me? It's like I said. It's like the guy walking around. Police found drugs in his pocket, you know, like, and he says, no, it's not mine, and everybody says, oh, yes, we believe you, you know. It's the same thing. Who would have believed me that I found something in the back of my truck? So,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was thinking myself, what the hell?
Did you tell
And
anybody?
every now and then I'd actually go look, like, yes, it's not a dream, there is somebody here, you know. So, no, I didn't tell anyone. I was like scared, you know.
Okay.
The more Brian speaks, the more he solidifies the case against himself. It's now a point of contention whether Brian is actually smart or if his own words are sealing his fate even further.
You were aware of what was going on while you were doing this. Okay? Nobody's going to believe, who do you think is going to believe you when you say, I don't remember this happening? Nobody's going to remember that.
I know.
That's why you say this is your.
This is it.
You get to write this. You get to explain this. There's an explanation for it, right? Something happened that night with you, whether it was a fantasy that you were carrying out that went too far, but something happened and you remember it. The video shows you doing it.
What do you mean?
Similar to, we're going to see videos of other women, not necessarily by you, but we're going to see stuff like this that you've watched before, that you viewed, kind of films as you would. Women getting beat up, women getting choked. We're going to see that kind of stuff on your stuff that we're searching, correct?
No, I like a bit of porn, but I actually don't like snuff too much. I don't like blood and gore.
So what happened for this to get to this point? There's an explanation for it.
I'm serious. I do not remember this. I don't remember this face. I don't remember. It's my truck. That's my truck. It's my voice. That looks like my shoes. I wear jeans usually. It looks like jeans in the picture. I do not. I've got a blank on. If that's me, I've got a total blank. Something's blocking this out of my mind.
So when you went out there and you dumped the body, which you say you did,
Yeah.
did you take any photographs out there while you were out there?
I don't remember.
So you're admitting that you were at the hotel, that's your stuff, that's your voice, and you admit that you took the body out there and you dumped the body, right? So why would there be photographs of her in the back of your truck at the dump site, which you admit to doing? On the same SD card, listen to me.
Okay.
On the same SD card that has all these photos on it and videos of you killing her. He admits that he took the body out there and that he dumped it out there. But he has no recollection of anything that happened at the hotel where he admitted he was, where his truck was, where he pointed it out it was, where his voice is on there calling somebody a bitch and killing somebody. And so you wanted the story to be, you blanked that portion of this event out.
If you hypnotize me now, I can tell you, you'll see. I'll say I don't know. Please, I don't know. I cannot remember this.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the dead body. It was discovered on October 2nd, just 6 days before this interrogation. The remains were found along the Seaward Highway, south of Anchorage, belonging to 30-year-old Kathleen Henry, a homeless Native American woman. She was tortured to death by none other than Brian Stephen Smith.
On the videos, on several of them,
Yeah.
in my movies, sadly, everybody dies. What are my followers going to think of you? People need to know when they're being serial killed. These are things you're saying to her while you're doing that.
Why would I say that? That's
why we're
stupid to say things like that.
You weren't anticipating that we were going to get a hold of this card, and you weren't anticipating that the railroad was going to drive by and see bones laying on the side of the railroad track. You didn't anticipate that.
What do you think a normal person, reasonable person, if I came out and I found a dead body in the back seat of my car or in the back of my truck, what would a reasonable person who's never had any contact with the law, as far as I know, right? Never had any negative contact with the law. There's video there that would explain it, right? If somebody put that body in the back of your truck, why would you not call it? A reasonable person would call the police and say, hey, I found a dead body. What they wouldn't do is wait 2 days, keep the dead body in the back of their car, drive it home, park it in the driveway, and then take it out to a spot and not only dump the body over the guardrail, but take the other stuff that's with her to a different place. What does that look like? And then take pictures of her in the back of your truck.
Well, this is bad. I can tell you, this is not a nice thing to do.
Who's that?
That's a girl that I met, and we screwed a little bit, and once more time I cheated on my wife with this one, and she was passed out drunk. Yeah.
And when was that?
This was actually recently, a few weeks ago.
So did you pick her up?
Yeah, this girl I picked up, yeah.
Where's she at now?
I don't know, I left her there. So she found her way home.
So you had sex with her?
Yeah.
Okay. When did she get drunk to the point where she's passed out? It looks like it would be hard to have sex with her.
Oh, well, when I picked her up, she was drunk and she had a bottle with her.
Okay.
So we sat there for a while, like 10 minutes or so, drinking, and then it was getting late. Early in the morning, and I needed to get going. So I said, let's just finish everything, yeah.
Brian, being a frequent visitor of downtown Hope, first encountered Kathleen Henry and later Valerie Kassler. There was yet another individual he picked up from there.
Do you wear protection? That's just for my curiosity. Do you wear a condom?
Yeah, I did. Usually, if a girl's the first 3 I didn't, put it that way, and then the short-haired girl I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but
how about her? Did you have sex with her?
I don't know.
Oh.
Obviously, I don't want people to know that I pick up girls. I don't want anyone to know.
All right, but we just need to know. And it sounds like when you left the house, you were very angry. So
I was.
All right. So what we need to know is how this and this, all this apparent consensual stuff, got from that to this.
So what was the difference between these girls, this girl, this girl? What happened those times? What happened this time compared to those times? Because something happened in there, and I think we kind of got close to it a minute ago. That these girls were immediately like, "Let's do it," and same with Alicia. Let's go. Like she said, "Hurry up." And I think that's something you got used to. That was the convenience and the hey, we're going to get this going. And I think something happened with her, and I know you remember her. I know you remember this girl. And
do you remember that photo? Because you don't remember these cards. Do you remember taking that on your phone?
No.
So you don't. So you don't remember taking this photograph.
No, that is me. That's my stomach. That's definitely me. Let's put it this way. This might sound bad, but it wouldn't have been such a big deal that I remember that photograph. You know, I might have just wanted to record me and a girl doing something. You know, just take a photo of.
But you remember taking that?
I remember taking photographs of this girl.
And you remember taking this?
She had an amazing little bum. Yeah, this was This is going to sound sick, but it was like a joke. You know, like a.
I did that with poster, and I just drove her and left her there. So you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember. It wasn't a big event, so yes, I took that photo. Yes, I did. But I don't remember physically taking it. I don't remember.
But you remember taking all those? So,
These, I remember taking photos of this girl. She had a very, very nice little
so the
bump.
only thing you don't remember doing is taking pictures of this dead girl. You remember all these other people, but you don't remember the dead one.
This I don't remember. I don't. I do not. I know you don't believe me. I know you don't believe me. I do not remember this.
I mean, he documented the whole thing basically with photographs. You don't remember any of these photos.
It's evident that he's trying to convince the police that he doesn't remember anything, but he can't hide the panic-stricken state that has taken over his body.
You went out that night to find one of these girls, right? And you found one, and you took her to the hotel room, and then instead of just taking photos and leaving them, this happened, and you're the only one that can provide an explanation as to why this type of behavior, this person, turned into this. Whether this was intentional or whether it was an accident. The only way this could be an accident is you fulfilling some type of fantasy by videoing it and it going too far. Because it's on video. So you either intended to kill her or you intended to videotape this for yourself and it went too far.
That's probably what happened. But
Which one? That's probably what happened.
something went too far.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't remember this. I'm not going to say believe me because that's a trigger word, but
While you were on your trip, another thing that you were looking up is basically making a confession to the police on your deathbed. Something you Googled, something you were searching. Can you tell me about that?
I did not do that.
Well, it was in your search history on your Google.
I did not search making a confession on my deathbed. I did not do that.
Anybody else have your phone while you were gone?
No. My wife and myself were together. She doesn't know how to use a phone at all.
The detectives can sense that Brian is scared, as he isn't fully considering his statements. They now decide to apply psychological pressure to compel him to tell the truth.
So are you okay with, like I said, because this is big, everybody's going to hear about this. Are you okay with everybody knowing that, the big revelation in this thing was, I don't remember. Are you okay with it being like that? You okay going out like that with them knowing that this was his explanation? You think everybody's going to understand that?
No one's going to believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, everybody's going to believe that it happened because we're going to go. We have evidence to show that it happened. We can show them exactly when it happened, where it happened, where you dumped the body. We can show them everything.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to believe that it happened.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to know that it happened. But what they're not going to understand, and like I said earlier, people aren't going to understand it when somebody lies. And people aren't going to understand, I don't remember. Because they're going to know that you remember that are the other girls. But it's the convenience of, I don't remember this one particular time when you ended up dead and in a ditch and, several weeks later, bones.
Me too. I wouldn't believe someone who said I didn't. Like I said to you right in the beginning, if I was on a anger trip or whatever, the first moment you hit somebody, you'll come out of it. You sober up from the first little hit on the person.
Well, that's not what you did.
Because they kept going for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so that's...
You put your hand on her throat, called her some names, you slapped her,
Camera,
you
with
kicked
the
her,
Mm.
you told her she was going to die.
Mm.
So you didn't come out of it.
Yeah,
You came out of it the next morning when you found the body in your truck, apparently. But then you really can't argue that because you actually took photos of her 2 days later in the back of your truck of this body you just found in the back of your truck. You're telling us how you took photos of these other women kind of to bolster, but yet you don't want to admit that that's what that last photo was of her at 1:10 in the morning at mile 108.5, where your phone was, where your Google was, and where that photo was taken.
Mm-hmm.
That was bolstering for what you did to her the previous night, just like this is bolstering what you did to her. This is just a lesser degree. This is just what everybody does. This just went one step further.
We will now play a part of the audio footage to show how heinous his crimes were, no matter how hard he tries to dissociate from it. The information you're about to hear is highly disturbing and can affect those who are sensitive or easily affected by information of such nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
No. We're going on for, no, as if she's like half an hour at least now. We're going on half an hour now. Come on, please, man, Jesus. Yeah, that's it. Just do it. Just take it, swallow it. Just do a shot while we hit your, do like an angle, like an action shot. Okay, we did the shot. You live, you die, you live, you die, you live, you die. Sadly, in my movies, everyone dies. I get the Oscar. Only me. Okay, so please just finish on time. Listen, you need to finish this movie because I just can't on anymore. Gasp once for yes, gasp twice for no. Oh geez, there was maybe there was 2 gasps. But you're resisting me. Okay. So here's the throat, here's the hair, here's the string I've got. I've got a string there. Okay, I'm gonna pull the string quickly, okay? Yeah, it's all tightened. Just put your face forward, you stupid. Do people have to be taught how to die these days? After 120,000 years of evolution, we haven't learned to die yet. Huh? I don't have time for you. I'm drinking time. I got a bottle of whiskey still to go through, and it's already like come on, just take on for the team. Huh? Take it for the team. Take it for the team. I know this is like weird, but swallow it. Swallow it. You to carry your out of a car and go dump you somewhere, huh? You just my entire image. Just finish, please. I'm tired. I need to go on straight and narrow. Just stop.
It is beyond comprehension how a man who goes to such extreme lengths nonchalantly sits in the interrogation room, denying his involvement in the crime.
You obviously know what you're doing. You're telling her what you're doing. You're telling the viewers, in this case happens to be the police, what you're doing. It's pretty calculated. There's some anger that comes out, but it's very controlled, very intentional, callous act.
You're very comfortable doing it too.
Which makes us concerned. Is this the only person that you've ever killed? Or do we need to be looking for other people? Is your phone going to be at other places where we've found dead bodies in Anchorage since 2016? Is your Google going to show us there? Are we going to have any other evidence at any other hotels that this has happened? Or is this the only time that you've carried this out to this far? And that's why you didn't know what to do the next day. And that's why she stayed in your truck for 2 days, even though she was dripping out. And that's why you only took her to mile 108 and a half, because you freaked out.
Well, I did. I was panicking.
So to answer that, do we need to be investigating you for a serial killer, for other types of...
No.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so, sorry.
But-
no,
Or is this the only time that this is something like this has happened, and this is an isolated incident that happened?
I have never done anything else.
Okay.
That could be. I'm sort of convinced I've done this. Obviously, I have, but no,
Well,
I've never. I don't think I've ever. Not. I don't think, but I've.
So an explanation for this would probably explain to us that that's never happened before. If you told us what happened here and why, we might be able to glean into that it hasn't happened before. But at this point, the way this went down and everything else that we have, it seems like we have to look at you for other possible stuff. And unless we have an explanation as to why this one-time incident happened, and it didn't happen to these people the days before, and then this happened.
Let's put it this way: I've never found anyone else in any of my vehicles. Put it that way. No, I haven't done anything. Put it that way.
So you've never done anything else. This weekend was an isolated incident where you went on this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This would be isolated.
Because it was for at least in one weekend or several days.
Well, one night.
Well, these aren't all in one night. 2 different hotels.
No, well, this event, yeah.
This was the only one at that hotel. Is this the only girl you had at the Midtown Marriott?
No, I had a short-haired girl. I picked up a short-haired girl.
So you had 2 girls at that hotel over the 2 days you were there. You had this girl here.
Yeah, so this one and that one.
Okay, so you had this one and the short-haired girl
Yeah,
at that hotel.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this one.
The first night there, I didn't go out. The second night, which is apparently when this happened, the second night, let's put it that way.
This happened on the 4th.
Yeah. That short-haired girl, I picked up on the 4th, and the morning of the 5th, I dropped her off at work.
And did you say her hair was colored or something? Or
Oh yes, there was colour in it.
The girl is Valerie Castler, the person who started this investigation.
what color?
I don't remember.
But it was not black or brown. It was some color.
I'm sure she had colour in her hair. I don't remember too well. I was drunk.
Okay.
I'm even thinking now, was she just shaved and it was long? You're obviously going to go there tomorrow and go look at the people there, and so you'll see. You'll find her.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
But this girl that doesn't have shaved sides or colored hair, that has dark hair, this girl was the same night you had the short-haired girl, or a different night?
Well, that's what I'm thinking now. Is that the same girl?
I mean, this is going to be time and date stamped also.
Yeah, and I don't remember specifically that photo. You do know I've got a habit of taking photos, so I'm not denying taking.
Yeah, no.
I can't remember. It's probably this girl.
I mean, we can see you like taking photos of the people that you with, and in this case, what you did.
But so many photos. I mean, usually I'll just take 1 or 2, take a little video, you know.
But this was a.
This is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, this was happening.
And I do not have a YouTube channel where I post videos. I do not have a thing like that.
Okay.
Well, I don't think they allow that on YouTube.
Yeah,
Anything like
well,
that.
well,
I mean, we're going to find it. If you posted anything, we're going to know.
I don't have that kind of thing where I post videos of things. The videos of Alicia and myself, I've got on an adult website.
Alicia has been mentioned way too many times now. She was also picked from the homeless shelter, but it was only with Kathleen that things went astray as she fell prey to his crimes. But it's to see now how Brian interestingly decides that he has, what one might call, a split personality disorder.
What's the website?
Oh, it's called Euro Profile.
How do you spell it? Euro? Like Euro? Like Euro?
ERO
E-R-O?
Profile.
Profile.
Yeah.
Dot.
Do we need to show you that?
I don't want to see anything like it. I'll get nightmares. Hearing my voice there is already enough to give me nightmares, you know. I believe you that I've done something.
Are you afraid of what you're going to see on there?
Yeah, I don't want to see.
You know what's on there.
Well, if it's anything to do with these photographs,
It's all of those.
Yeah.
It's those.
yeah.
And then 16 or 18 videos, or
We talked about it a minute ago about there's the you that goes to Virginia with your wife, and you go to work and you live a normal life, and then there's that other person that you just can't quite, you can't just come out and talk about that other person, the other things that other person does, the girls, the having sex with girls on the grass, and homeless girls, and going intense with homeless girls. That's that other person, and you can't. You're just trying to act like that's not happening, that person didn't happen.
Going into tents.
Well, I mean, you were at a homeless camp with this girl in the grass there, so I mean.
Oh no, this
farce.
was. It wasn't a homeless camp. We would park there. In the daytime, people would park there. But I parked next to the bushes. I parked next to the bushes. So basically, I'd like to maybe see this, but I've got enough to believe. I believe you. I just cannot understand why I would do something like this. And that's what your question is. Why would I do that?
I mean, we know you did it. You know you did it. We're just looking for, and there may not be a why that you think is reasonable, right?
Yeah.
But there is a why as to what happened. We might not know why it happened, but you know what happened. You're gonna see what happened. You're gonna see what you did.
I just don't know why would I get angry like that?
This is you're not angry.
Yeah. So you said
No, you're very calculated. You're narrating it.
Why would I say I've got an audience?
I'm not saying that you have an audience, but you're clearly talking to.
Yeah,
you're not just talking to her. You're narrating this, and it's because of whatever fantasy it is that you have in your mind. Whether you're going to share this with other people or you intended on it, I don't know, but you certainly intended on viewing it yourself, and you're clearly exerting power over this person. What do you think up until that point?
That girl's dying. It's my hand, it's my arm.
No, it's not going to be very hard to figure. Like I said, this is when this gets on a 55-inch TV.
Yeah.
There's no voice in this one.
She's alive there.
Yeah, there.
Camera.
That's my voice.
My hand's entirely.
I don't talk like that.
Bradley Phillips does, or whoever that is. Then
Let's do this.
No, Bradley's a naughty person. He's just tells dirty jokes and he's racist. He can make racist jokes.
To understand why Brian, or Bradley, picked up the term racist, we need to look at his past. Brian Stephen Smith, originally from South Africa, served in the military and regularly posted on Quora, often blaming black people for societal issues. Given his history, it's no surprise his racist views may have extended to his victims, including Kathleen Henry, a Native American woman.
I can tell you that I am worried that I'm going to say something that's going to... Look, I'm in trouble. I know I'm in trouble. There's no lying, but I'm scared I say something that gets me into worse trouble, that makes it look like I'm a really bad person. I am a really bad person, according to this.
So you're worried that you could say something that would make you sound worse than you
than
picked
what
up.
I really am, yeah.
So we already know what you are and what you did this night, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of yourself?
I don't like it. I'm disgusted that I've done something like this.
Do you think that, and I'm not saying it was entirely intentional, but do you think that you, the good Brian that we're talking to, apparently we haven't seen the bad Brian yet because bad Brian did this. Do you think good Brian wanted bad Brian to get caught? That's why somebody made it so easy for us?
So, yes, so we're not at a stalemate. I've done that. I just don't know why.
You just have no explanation for good or bad of why you did it, why it happened.
Yeah. The photographs are stupid. You say that somebody took the SD card out of my truck and I said, no, give it back, it belongs to work or something. That's what you said. If I was trying to hide away and not get caught, I would not let something like it happen. I wouldn't have
Seems
an SD
careless.
card. I wouldn't have an SD card.
But all this seems careless too.
Very, yeah. That's somebody that wants to get caught. And you're in a hotel room, for God's sake.
In your own hotel, in your own chain of, using your own name with your own employee discount.
Yeah.
By trying to establish the good Brian and bad Brian analogy, he believes he can convince the detectives that he wasn't the one responsible for such horrors. But the real question is, will this tactic work, or will it only lead him to stumble into another grave he dug years ago? In the next clip, Brian drops a revelation that catches the detective off guard, which will now cement his fate in prison.
Some time ago, I picked up a very drunk girl. My wife was gone. She was away for the weekend. I took her home.
How long ago was that about?
Oh my God, 3 years ago. She was on the side there, and she actually seemed like a nice person. She wanted booze, I knew that. She was drunk. She had a half a bottle of R&R on her there. I think that's actually why I stopped, because I had some booze, but I didn't know if I had enough, so I thought, that attracted me to her. I picked her up and I said, hey, you want some warm food and a warm place to sleep tonight? And she was like, yes, sure. And she jumped in, but she was really drunk. She was slurring it. And I took her home, and she fell asleep on the couch in front of the TV. And she was smelling. I knew she was homeless then. You know, she was stinking. And I was getting upset, and I said to her, go take a shower. You know, because now there's smell in the house. You know, Stephanie would smell like there was a homeless person in the house. Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't do it. She kept saying, no. And I was worried that she's going to vomit now, because then I realized that she really had been drinking a lot. No excuse, but I'd also been drinking. But like I said, when Stephanie goes, that's Brian time, or as you call it, Brad time, I can let my hair down, I can just relax and get rid of the whole stress of being married all the time. I clearly remember this. And again, I'm not lying to you. I don't remember, I can't visualize this girl. But I went through to the garage and I got my little pistol there, and I said to her, go shower. And she wouldn't. And I just did that. And I
While she was on the couch?
Yeah. I just shot her. The messed up thing, I can tell you honestly, there was no emotion there. It was just, you're not listening to me, go shower, you're not listening to me. You know, I knew that the longer she stays here, the worse trouble I'm going to get in with Stephanie. She's going to stink up the place. If she vomits on the carpet, it's going to be, you know.
The woman he murdered years ago was 52-year-old Veronica Abuchak, a Native American like Kathleen, who also lived in the same homeless shelter. He shot her with a .22 pistol, but the horror didn't stop there. What he did to her body afterward is even more gut-wrenching.
I did have a photo of me trying to stick my fingers into her. Yeah.
So that was a real photo of you doing that to the person you shot. Was that before or after you shot her?
After.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I actually did show that to Alicia. Alicia and myself actually had a conversation. She wanted me to prove, you know, because that was the thing that I prove it, Brian, prove it, you know. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to do something I never do, and I'm going to undelete these things. I feel very guilty about that girl, that lady. She was a sweet lady. She was nice. The only thing,
this lady,
yeah,
okay.
All she did to me was make my house stink.
And wouldn't go to the shower when you told her to.
So I was going to grab her clothes, put in the washing machine, and it'll be dry by the time she's out.
Yeah, that's right.
Human being does shit like this in his life and records.
You'd be surprised.
I'm going to be on frickin' America's Dumbest Criminals. I actually took Alicia there because I was boasting.
You took her to
Yeah, I was boasting to her. But I knew, but this is like a year after, or 2 years after.
So you took her there about a year after it happened.
I knew it wasn't there. I knew the person wasn't there because I'd driven past a few times, and from the road, I could see that what I'd covered with was not there anymore.
Okay, so somebody had found it.
So that's why I know you guys must have found it.
Somebody found the remains before you took Alicia out there a year later.
Yeah.
I know we have found remains in that area.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's her or not, but I know that there's been remains found in that area.
I've got a funny feeling I was... In my mind, my memory is that they found her very quickly. You know, it was like very soon.
Do you recall hearing it on the news, or how did you...
No. There was nothing on the news. And that's what I know that sometimes if something bad happens...
But you drove by it and noticed within 3 months or so that it wasn't there, you think?
Yeah, I'm sure it was within a few days they found it.
I'm just curious too. Then, when you had her picked, when you had her in your house there, did you have a gun handy? Did you have to go get the gun to come back and shoot her, or did you?
It was in the garage.
So when you got the gun and came back, did you say, get in the shower? Did you like threaten her with the gun to get in the shower and she refused, or did you just come back and shoot her because she wasn't getting in the shower?
No, I told her go shower, go get
Did
up.
she see that you had a gun?
No.
Okay.
She was lying, just looking at the TV.
Okay.
She was just drunk out of her mind as well, probably. You know, that was unprovoked. She didn't hit me, didn't hurt me, didn't do anything. She just pissed me off. But this other one, I don't know. I don't know why.
You mean you remember and don't know why, or you still don't remember?
I don't know why. I hurt this new girl.
Do you remember it and you just don't know why, or are you still at I don't remember?
I don't remember. I'm serious. I'm trying to bring the pictures into my head, and I can't.
It was indeed a cold-blooded murder, as Brian describes it. His claims of not remembering a single thing are nothing short of blatant lies. He even joked and bragged about it to Alicia, revealing his pride in the crime. While he tells the police he can't remember exactly where he dumped the body, it remains questionable whether he's telling the truth.
This girl a couple years ago, after you shot her, you said you put a towel against her head. She didn't have an exit wound, but she had some blood coming out of the side of her head. How did you get her out of the house? How did you get her out there?
I was picked up and
Did you wrap her in a towel or anything?
Yeah, I put a towel around her head.
Nothing else? No tarp, no blankets, no nothing like that? What did you leave out there with her? Did you leave the towel out there with her?
I probably did. No, I didn't. I didn't leave the towel. I put her in a black bag, a black plastic bag.
Like a garbage bag?
Yeah.
And then you said you could see it, like what could you see?
Yeah, so when I left, as I drove out again, because I basically backed up in there and just, when I left and I looked back, I could see from the road, I could see the black bag.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
It looks like a trash bag.
Yeah. I don't think I left the towel there, because the towel could have been linked to me.
Yeah.
And these were just normal black bags that you can get anywhere, so.
And you left her clothes on. She had all her clothes and everything on.
No. Yeah.
Okay. What'd you do with her clothes?
As I was driving, whenever there was a clear spot, I would throw them out to distribute them
On the
so
way
that they
out
weren't
or on the way back?
found in one thing. Because I mean, if you find a full layer of clothing in one spot, it's going to be suspicious.
On the way out or on the way back?
On the way out, I was, a shoe out here and a shoe out there.
What vehicle did you have? The same truck?
Yeah. So.
Did it have a canopy on it or a topper on it at the time?
No.
So she was just in the open bed of the truck in a garbage bag?
Yeah. And that was also like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
When you took her out?
Yeah, it was early. So I know if you're driving that road at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, the police are out because they know it's all the drunk cars driving her out. So I was also scared, get rid of this person quickly as possible. Otherwise, I was scared I wouldn't know what to do with it. So that's why I drove out that late. I was falling asleep while I was driving. That's how tired I was.
Did you tell anybody else? I mean, I know you told Alicia, but she thought it was fake.
Yeah.
Did you tell anybody else about that?
No, because it's dangerous. Yeah.
So do you have, and I know you had it, and you said you recovered your deleted stuff. Do you have some type of bad picture file, some type of vault, some type of something with these photographs in it?
I did, because I wanted to prove to Alicia that I actually did.
How long was this woman at your house before you killed her? You picked her up at Caris Gamble?
Oh, it was probably about an hour.
No sex?
No. We talked a bit, but then she was she was out of it as well. So, yeah, we couldn't have done anything. So, yeah, so that's why I just put my fingers inside there.
Your fingers, or did you fist her?
Well, that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was when she was deceased?
Yeah.
What Brian did to the body of Veronica is undeniably vile. He violated her deceased body and showed no remorse while describing it. Apart from it, whether he has any tendencies, we may never know. But one thing is certain, he will never walk free again. Despite his claims of not remembering a thing, the SD card held enough damning evidence to put him behind bars for life. On February 22, 2024, the jury found Brian Stephen Smith guilty of the murders of 30-year-old Kathleen Jo Henry and 52-year-old Veronica Abuchuk, both Native Alaskan women who lost their lives in September 2019 and August 2018, respectively. Smith was convicted on all 14 charges, including first and second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and sexual assault. He was sentenced to 226 years in jail. Despite the overwhelming evidence, he pleaded not guilty throughout the trial.
To all these will waive reading of the charges and advisement of rights and enter a not guilty plea and ask for a jury trial.
His wife Stephanie stood by him, insisting on his innocence. The trial was significant, drawing attention from the Native American community amid ongoing violence against them, particularly in light of the lives of his two victims. The jury also found that Kathleen Jo Henry's murder involved substantial physical torture, which was an aggravating factor in the first-degree murder charge. Both women were more than just names in a headline. They were individuals with hopes, dreams, and loved ones left behind. Kathleen earned her GED in the same year she was murdered, and her frequent Facebook posts revealed her excitement to embark on a new chapter in her life. Veronica was a cherished member of her community, known for her kindness and warmth. Their circumstances did not diminish their worth. Homelessness does not define a person's value or their right to a respectful life. While Brian spends the rest of his life behind bars, we're left grappling with lingering questions. Did Brian's mental state contribute to his actions, or was it a conscious choice all along? Was there truly a bad Brian or Bradley who committed these horrific crimes? Or does the story go deeper than that? We would love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you for joining us on this journey.